Basically, what we have here is kind of the future of aviation-ish. We do have an electric vertical takeoff and landing, but that's actually hybrid, meaning that in the back, we have an auxiliary power unit. Basically, it works as a range extender. It gives more power to the batteries so that we're not stuck with 30 minutes of flight time. Thanks to that, we go up to 2 hours. Now we're talking real aircraft. Yeah, we are taking pre-orders.
A 2-seat eVTOL that can take off vertically, cruise at 90 miles per hour, and stay in the air for up to 2 hours? That's a very appealing pitch. So is DTA building one of the first generally practical personal eVTOLs? But the aircraft DTA brought to Oshkosh looked very much like a prototype to me, and that pitch is from a company that has over 500 aircraft flying in over 30 countries, gyroplanes and trikes. So DTA is not an eVTOL startup. This gives DTA considerably more light aircraft manufacturing experience than many of the companies entering this market. But its presence in the United States has been limited. This helps explain why I had never run across one of its aircraft.
Talk about your history going from the gyroplane to what you're building now.
The company is pretty old. It has been created in 1990, and we are coming from Delta trikes and gyrocopters. It's been produced in France. Now we're not producing anymore our legacy aircraft to be focusing on this, and we'll be launching in the US.
The feature that really separates the JP1 from most of the personal eVTOLs being developed is the hybrid power system. Electric motors drive the 8 propellers, but the aircraft does not depend entirely on batteries. A small gasoline power generator is intended to produce electricity during flight, extending the aircraft's endurance without requiring an enormous battery pack.
The APU is there because we used to make for 35 years gyroplanes, Delta trikes, and we reuse the chassis of those old aircraft. So basically the back passenger seat, if you can have a look here, is actually a fuel tank. So that fuel can take aviation gas or car gas or whatever. It will provide energy to the generator, the APU that will provide power to the batteries. And we'll have a safe flight for 2 hours.
Is the APU manufactured by you guys?
No, we're not manufacturing the APU. Basically what we do is we take products that already exist on shelves that are already certified. And here it's a rotor engine that is being made by a Spanish manufacturer. It's a Mazda-like engine generator, but smaller. It weighs only 40 kilograms, so 80 pounds. And that's how we achieved that goal of 2 hours of flight time.
So that really differentiates you from the other options out there.
Well, it does, yeah. The hybrid really makes a differentiation.
A 20-minute aircraft might be fun for flying around the immediate area, but its practical uses would be very limited. 2 hours begins to create real possibilities for recreational flying, local transportation, and exploring areas where a conventional runway may not be available. Of course, 2 hours is currently a DTA performance claim. The aircraft also would not be emissions-free. The benefit is not eliminating an engine, it's using that engine as a relatively constant speed generator, while electric motors provide the actual propulsion and control.
Let's talk about the flight characteristics. So what's it like to fly?
Well, I'd like to talk about safety, because that's also one feature that is quite interesting here. We have 8 different propellers. Those propellers are completely independent, meaning that if you lose one motor on one boom, it will keep flying, and you can lose up to 4 different motors as long as they're on different booms. If you happen to lose 2 rotors on the same one, then on the top we see a black dome. This is a ballistic parachute, and the ballistic parachute will go out and you'll still land safe. We have 4 different battery packs as well, because we didn't want only one single battery pack dying. So with having 4, it means also the battery packs power different rotors on different booms, so that whenever you lose one battery pack, which might happen, then you keep flying because it's not the entire aircraft which is going down. So everything has been built around safety.
Those are encouraging design goals, but at this stage they remain manufacturer claims.
One fun story is that the actual owner of the company, he's a gyroplane pilot, and every week on Wednesday, he goes to his mom for lunch, and he wanted to build himself an aircraft that is safer than the actual gyrocopter that he was flying previously. That's why we've been building this aircraft.
I can relate to that mission. I enjoy flying for the experience itself. The ability to leave from a small area, fly somewhere for breakfast or lunch, and return without needing a conventional runway is exactly what makes personal vertical flight so appealing. I'm not yet ready to accept that the JP1 is safer than a gyroplane, but the use case makes sense.
Let's talk about speed, like how fast?
Cruise speed, which is also approximately maximum speed, is around 90 miles per hour. It's pretty fast, but that's also because we've added some wings to it. As you can see behind me, they're pretty small, they're pretty narrow, but above 60 miles per hour, they add 10% of saving on the battery, on the consumption, which works also as a range extender a little bit. Okay. Yes. Below 60 miles per hour, they don't do anything.
So to get your maximum efficiency, your longest 2-hour flight time,
yeah.
you should be flying over 60 miles an hour for the bulk of it.
Yes, exactly. Now the goal is to start selling pre-orders in the US because we are ready. The regulation, is getting there because of the FAA Mosaic. We are planning on starting producing mid-July 2027 for early 28 delivery.
So in early 28, your plan is to have this as an SLSA aircraft in the US.
Yes, exactly. Thanks to the Mosaic rule, everything is changing, and it makes the United States the very first country to open up to those new kind of aircraft, which is great for us. So it will be light sport aircraft. It will require a sport pilot license, which is now easier to get with Mosaic.
I need to add an important clarification to that answer. Mosaic does now provide a certification path for powered lift aircraft to be manufactured as light sport category aircraft, but aircraft certification and pilot certification are two different things. The current sport pilot regulations list privileges for airplanes, gyroplanes, gliders, etc., but they do not currently list a powered lift sport pilot privilege. The final licensing and training requirements for the powered lift category of aircraft for pilots will depend on how the FAA classifies the aircraft and what additional rules or guidance are put in place before customer deliveries.
We are taking pre-orders. It's a 10,000 USD down payment. It reserve your chassis number, so you'll be sure to have your production slots for 2028. You'll be among the first to get your aircraft delivered, and that's your way to go. So I, for myself, will be settling in Phoenix, Arizona after the show. All the team will go back to France. I'll be staying in the US with the machine with me, and we'll be setting up a showroom at Scottsdale Airport. So please come and visit us. We'll be at the Jet Aviation hangar.
All right, awesome. Yeah. Well, Théo, thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure.
My takeaway is that DTA may be pursuing one of the more practical personal eVTOL concepts I saw at Oshkosh. I like the idea. In fact, this is the type of personal eVTOL I might eventually like to fly. But before I'd put down a deposit, I would want to see the JP1 take off, transition into forward flight, demonstrate its endurance, and prove its redundancy systems really work. Right now, DTA has an appealing aircraft concept. The next step is proving that it can become a real aircraft. I still have more Oshkosh 2026 aircraft and interviews to come, so make sure you subscribe. Thanks for coming along on this latest Silva adventure.